Hey everybody, Dan and Dave here. Oh wait, Dan's not here again.
Come on, I'm here. I'm here, Dave. Come on.
All right, just in time.
No, I was on vacation.
So today we are talking about pushing and pulling of the landing gear. So Dan, why don't you demonstrate for us and show us how you're going to crank these legs down and how you're going to crank them back up.
Yep, basically I'm just going to go ahead and grab the handle on the end. I'm always going to push the handle away from me. I don't want to pull, I always want to push just in case this thing gets in a bind. I want to make sure I've got my force going away from me, not coming back.
Right, saves your back. Anytime if you're going to crank that backwards, it's always going to be the back muscles it affects and the whole bit.
Right.
We know that a lot of times that some of these handles are nice and easy, even if they're doing it with one hand. That way you always want to be pushing, correct?
Yeah, I mean we can all get kind of complacent. Every now and then these can grab. The winter time they're going to get tough. You want to make sure you're always pushing.
Right. So on the other side of it, then if you're going to crank the legs up, then you're just going to go to the other side of the handle.
Just
correct?
basically going to go ahead and switch around. Put my right foot forward, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just going to go ahead and push, crank the legs, just like that.
Yeah. Always going away from you.
Right.
That way, as you mentioned before, that these legs get in a bind. In the wintertime, the grease gets stiff in them. Some of the guys, dragging the legs a little bit, kind of puts a bend on there. And we're going to be talking to one of the mechanics and show actually what is inside these legs, how many gears are in there, and what happens to them whenever they do get bent up.
That's right. Yeah, and just so you guys know, just whenever we have the landing gears that are stiff, we're not just going to continue to do that. Make sure we're taking it to the shop, writing it up so they can go ahead and address the landing gear.
Right. Hey, it ain't worth your back
right.
of trying to crank some of these legs. If they get in too bad a shape and you can barely get them off the ground, take it back to their shop, let them fix it. They got the tools to do it
That's
with.
right.
All right, so we got one of our chief mechanics, Rob Walters here, and we're talking about push and pulling on the legs, and we start looking at the legs, and me and Dan have talked about how hard these get to cranking. So pretty much, Rob, whenever we see a bracket that's pretty much bent like that, and you can tell how the leg's at an angle, that's probably going to be a hard cranking leg, right?
I would say so, yeah. What happens is they've drug it and it gets the leg here bent back, and it's not going to let the bottom part come back up into the cylinder part of the leg itself.
Right, it's not going to go back, it's not going to go straight up in there.
No.
It's going to get hard cranking.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how much grease is in there, any of that kind of stuff. Whenever they get bent up like that,
the leg is junk.
Exactly. So during the winter time, why is it that a lot of these legs or a lot of the handles and stuff, why do they get so hard to crank?
The grease gets cold in them, you could have a gear messed up in it, but if the grease is cold when it's zero out, it ain't going to turn easy.
Right. So what is there, like probably 7 or 8 gears inside there?
That's exactly on that side there. You got a couple here, but on the other side where your main gearbox is, you got more in it, and you got a whole little box there that's plumb full of grease.
Right, and so sometimes just from the dropping the trailers down, even dragging the legs, some of those gears every once in a while gets messed up, teeth break off.
Yes.
Not going to crank as well, correct?
Exactly, yes.
So in this case here, this trailer actually ought to be written up, new brackets, straightened out, maybe even a new leg, correct?
Exactly, yes, exactly, correct.
Well, there you go, everybody. That's pushing and pulling the landing gear. Be safe out there.